Yo,
Hello.
hey, sorry, I'm just finishing brewing my coffee.
That's okay. That's okay. Like, I will talk for you right now because I just had an energy drink and my heart is pumping out of my chest. So,
So
I
I
gotta
should
tell
just
you,
sit
but
quietly.
I gotta tell you, like, when I went to get this energy drink, okay, so I went in and this guy, like, he's kind of like, I don't know, he's talking to Amber, which is the person who owns the convenience store.
Right.
And like I don't know what he's saying, but it's like it's kind of loudish. And I grab my energy drink and I go up close to him, but not like in his space because I wanted to hear what he was saying. And he couldn't pay for what he was trying to buy, and he was like, oh, like there's the government's to blame for all of this. And like he's like there somebody's using my name for fraudulency and shit like this and blah blah blah. I can't give you $1 for like and she's like, no. So he walks out. He's
Pull
like,
out.
"Wow." So I pay for my drink and I go outside and I start watching him walk down the street, going, like he's yelling, he's yelling at the top of his lungs. He's like, "Ah, I fucking hate everything."
Like over $1?
I don't even know if it was $1. I don't know what he was trying to buy. I didn't ask her. I was just like, what is going on here? And then I was watching because there was a girl that also, like a younger girl who had just come out of the convenience store and was like, she put on her like knee pads and her elbow pads and she's like going to scoot down the road, and I'm like watching her like because he was going the same way. She was after him though, right? And then she got close enough. I saw her get close enough. Like she could tell that he was yelling at nothing, and she like stops, looks around. She stops, looks around, and is like, "What the fuck just happened? Like, like is this real?" Like, she just stops. She waits for him to like walk past her street, and she just like books it down.
Oh man, just baffled.
It's just too funny. Anyways, welcome to starting from scratch. So, like, holy smokes, thank you for listening. And like, this one's gonna be a weird episode because also there's so many things happening in the world. Like, I hope everyone is being safe, stay home. Like, I know Canada just like Ontario is went into a deeper lockdown. um I don't even know like half of the things that are going on, but I know that my schedule at work that it doesn't change. So there's a lot of people out there like me. And like we have to work because if we have a job to work, you have to do it. You can't just go, "Oh no, like I'm staying home because of COVID and I'm going to just work off of or live off of the government salary or whatever. Their handouts." Luckily, we don't have to do that. Hello?
Definitely grateful. But things changed for me in like over a year. I'm like, whatever.
Exactly. It's like yeah, we have to be grateful for what we have.
I
So
know. I just
my love goes out to the people that have to be working still, and like all like that have to be doing the jobs that probably suck right now to do.
yeah,
I just
most
want people to
definitely.
be safe.
I know it's getting pretty intense. Everyone I know from all different parts of like southern Ontario, they're all a little scared, daunting. And around this time last year, like we all pretty much had a lot of freedom in the summer, which I don't know if we're gonna get back this year. So that's a little bit depressing,
Oh,
but
we're not gonna get it back this
safety
year. No way.
safety first, I guess.
Yeah, because it's been extended and there's crazier things. And my dad was telling me that he saw on the news that a lot of the police officers are like, I'm not going to be stopping people to ask like what they're doing.
Like for their own safety?
They're more worried about systemic racism now. Systemic
Yeah.
discrimination. So they're worried about it. And what I told my dad was, I was like, dude, like if they're worried about that, that means they're racist.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing wrong with doing your job. Just don't kill anybody. Just don't
It's
just
not
don't
that hard.
yeah, like just don't do the bad things that everyone hates. Like it's really not that hard. Like there's so many times that I've been talked to by cops and they've been very lenient towards me. And you know, like I've been cuffed. I've been cuffed a couple times, but nothing bad has happened of it. They were just like, we gotta search the vehicle. And I wasn't doing anything bad. Don't worry.
Oh my God, they actually cuffed you?
Oh, I've been cuffed plenty of times.
Oh my God.
I think at this point it's been about 4 times.
Oh my God.
Yeah, nothing bad has happened though. It's just like they cuff me and I sit in the back seat of a cruiser and they're like, "Do you know what I'm trying to do right now?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I understand." Like,
do your thing and then let me go.
I'm like, "Yeah, just I guess do your thing." Yeah, like, and I've never been like put in a jail cell or anything like that, so it's not like that.
That's good.
Yeah, just in the back of a cruiser. That's why I still can work places, you know?
Yeah.
Never convicted.
Well, you're the only person I know that's done it, has happened to like that many times, so it's an honor.
I guess, like, I don't know if you want your boyfriend to have been in cuffs so many times, but yes.
Hey, as long as there's no criminal record, it's pretty badass, and I'm like, good on you.
Yeah, no criminal record. That's the greatest thing, is that I could have background check by the police and nothing would come up.
Nice.
So like it doesn't even matter. Like the first time was like pretty ridiculous. But anyways, that's just a side story now. We got to get back into the actual episode. Here we go. Like starting from scratch. I am Daniel Stanfield, and of course I'm not sitting next to, unfortunately because of everything, but on the phone with the beautiful Tasha Blake.
In spirit, you're sitting right beside me. In spirit.
In spirit, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I do miss you, but like, I guess the distance is just gonna be like kind of fun right now. I don't know.
Yeah, long distance relationships are fucking stellar.
Yeah, of course. So today we're gonna be talking about the house that Jack built, which is apparently what I thought was Jacob's ladder at first.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, apparently I thought it was Jacob's ladder. Was not true.
You're like, I don't want to watch that. You're like, I hate that movie. Like, and I was like, why would you pick between that and Melancholia? And like, House of Jack? You're like, oh. I was like, because you're like, which should we choose between the two? I'm like, obviously Melancholia. I don't give a fuck about Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, nobody cares about Jacob's Ladder. It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Like a lot of people got fucked up by that movie, and that's why for some reason I thought it was that one because of who made the movie, Lars Von Trier, the auteur, the crazy maniac that believes that the Nazis were right.
My hero. That's a weird time to say that, but he was joking. He always just wants to get a rise out of people.
He's definitely not joking. Like,
well, he said he was.
He said he was because of the press. Because of the press. Like, he had to do that.
This is what you find with him. He is the king of controversy, that every single thing he does is a ploy. He manipulates the media. Like, he does these things just so that people will have a reaction. And the same thing with his films, obviously, right? That's why I love him so much. It's just like, he doesn't care about his reputation in a way. And I'm like, whatever. But like, damn, he's ballsy.
That is totally true. Because, well, everything that he's done, and he's also like, we study him in university now for Dogma 95, where like the directors never listed their names on the movie. You know, like
Yeah.
he helped start that. You know.
Yeah. But don't you think it's ironic that he was part of that, and then like in this film, The House of Jack Built, he credited himself for multiple things?
Yeah, because well, what I was thinking was because okay, think about this. Like he's making beautiful movies, but he's also I don't think he's making it on much money. That's a great thing to look up right now, which I will. But
Yeah,
yeah, cuz it seems like he doesn't want to involve anybody else. Like this movie is his and his alone. He's not going to bring anything else in because that's just pointless to him. He's like, why would I do that? Like this is my art. This is my masterpiece. This is going to be all of my essence, so I might as well just put in my own films and stuff like that, right?
yeah, most definitely. He's not someone who tends to like put himself on a schedule either, right? In terms of releasing things every however many years, it's almost like there can be such big gaps in time for him that it's only when he feels he has something important or different to say. I really do like respect that, because I feel like we end up waiting such a long time in between his films. You know what I mean? That it's like, that's how it makes sense that he basically, and he speaks to that, they are all so personal. It's all about what's happening in his life, that you can't just force something like that, you know?
Yeah, 100%. So you're right about that. It's like he's making art, but he's not selling it to Netflix. He's not selling it anywhere because he doesn't give a shit. So I'm actually looking at it. They spent a fair amount of money on this movie. And I can understand that because of, you know, like all the production value and also the actors and actresses like Uma Thurman and Matt Dillon.
Stacked.
Yeah,
stacked.
It's totally stacked. So it's listed as almost 9 million euros. So in Canadian it's usually double, right?
I think so.
It's almost double. So yeah, we're talking $18 million.
Okay.
And opening weekend in the USA, they made $34,000.
Oh. Did you know that there's this guy who I really respect in terms of like when he talks about film, and he went and saw like the uncut version, which is intense. Like obviously he does an uncut version, his own version too, right? And like even when it was released or whatever, people were booing and walking out because they were so disgusted. But like he said that when he went to go watch it, this lady behind him was like, yeah, like Lars Von Trier is my fucking hero, and she threw up. He was screaming and walked out and was like, I'm done with this guy. Like he really pushed the envelope this time.
Well,
but yeah, people were booing him.
I don't understand it. You know what? Like when you tried to make me watch this movie plenty of time.
Yeah, since I talked to you.
Plenty of time. And I didn't, because I was like kind of against it. I was like, I don't want to watch a movie that Lars Von Trier does because it's so depressing and it's very, very disgusting and disturbing. But
messes with your head for a bit, yeah.
But when I watched it, I realized it's a masterpiece. It really is. It's totally Lars. It's totally Lars.
Yeah.
That'll be our next TV show. Totally Lars, where it's shot in 4:3 and it's like WandaVision. It's like, that's totally Lars. Oh my gosh, Lars. He's like, uh-oh, I think the Nazis were right.
We're like, that guy.
That guy. That bubble butt Kemper guy, like he couldn't have murdered anybody.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, honestly, like this is how ballsy this guy is. He made a movie about it's so like layered. He made a movie about a serial killer who admits to being a serial killer who takes forever to get caught. Like it's over what, like 12 years I think that Jack's murdering people, and like it's weird to do that. Like the character within the film, if this is who he's relating to, comes forward and actually tells police officers like, I'm Mr. Sophistication, like I murdered people. Like
Yeah.
doesn't get caught. Then I'm like, if that's the way of confessing and it doesn't pan out in the film until like the end, it's interesting if that's his way of confessing. I'd be surprised if someone didn't look into it. You know what I mean?
I also think it's a huge statement on police.
Absolutely.
This is a movie that's totally relevant right now too, because of what's even happening right here in fucking Toronto, where it's like everyone's realizing what's happening with the Bruce MacArthur case, where people are like, he was interviewed as a witness during the time of his own killings. He got more information from the police than they got from him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, and that shows in Matt Dillon's case in this movie, where he talks to the cop who's like, oh man, like I heard some scuffles in there, and I went to check on it and I couldn't get in, so you should go in there.
Yeah.
Like,
well, this is typical of any kind of, if you're on the sociopath to psychopath spectrum, like you're guaranteed you got narcissistic personality disorder. And what's more narcissistic than being obsessed with yourself and your ego? And like, I mean, a lot of the most famous serial killers did it as long as they weren't too antisocial. Like Edmund Kemper did it all the time. They get off on speaking to the authorities and hearing about their crimes. They fantasize about it. They go to the crime scene itself sometimes to like witness these people not being able to catch them, just so they can feel like they're getting away with it. It's so messed up, but it's completely narcissistic.
Completely. And yeah, they're just trying to get off on like the information that they can get from the police. It is insane. And it's insane that they give it up too. Anyways, before we go on, because there's still a lot to talk about, we might actually have to start thinking about breaking into like 2-part episodes now, because there's a lot to unpack with this film. But I did want to finish up with the budget and all of that stuff, because we got sidetracked again. Worldwide gross was only $3 million still. That's in seriously, like, we have to think about that, where like it took us so long to find it. We ended up having to watch it illegally. Like we had to stream it for free. Oh no. That's the thing. We would have loved to pay for it.
Yeah, I know, but it's like the first time I ever watched it, I rented it on PlayStation, and that's only because it just came out. But otherwise, like, and we all know, like, his films are all extremely difficult to find.
It's because of the platforms, and also because of the content, right? I'm sure, like, well, even if you think about it, they finally got Nymphomaniac onto Netflix, but they had to cut out 3 hours worth of content that was too far gone for the viewers.
Yeah, like, why would you want to watch it? Like,
they edited
if you really
like
him.
I think we've talked about it before on a podcast, but I've talked to plenty of people who have watched that version of it on Netflix, and they're like, oh, it's kind of like not that bad of a movie. It was kind of good. And I'm like, sorry, what? It's supposed to fuck your life. It's supposed to fuck your life up. Like, you're not supposed to enjoy this movie. You're supposed to be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, every time I watch part 1 and 2 on a weekend, that's all I do for the whole weekend, because it literally like knocks you on your ass.
Yeah, you can't do anything else. Yeah. You're like, whoa. And what I do like about, and this is a part of his auteurism, or auteuristic methods, is that it's very poetic. His editing, his storytelling is so poetic, especially in this film. And like, I see it from Nymphomaniac to this, where like he definitely started like messing around with a lot more editing and and like audio cues and even
Yeah.
like titles and stuff, right? In
Yeah.
Nymphomaniac, and he brought it onto this one where
Yeah.
it was like we were seeing Matt Dillon think, and we were seeing him think through the edits where there was jump cuts to him thinking about what's left in this place that he just murdered somebody in.
Yeah.
You know, we see it and it's like boof, boof, boof. Like different shots of, oh no, I left this, I left that. We're in his mind.
Yep.
There's so many other cases in this too where it's like I'm sure you have a lot of examples too. Do you have one?
Like his technique or whatever, like his directing style.
And editing style, because
Yeah.
like
I mean, I when I think back to like my favorite films, like by him, like my top ones, anyways, like he does have this signature style, and it caught me off guard when I was rewatching it because I feel like I'd forgotten about it, which is like he tends to have like two completely different styles that he meshes together at very important parts, which is like almost like a handy cam style for what's happening in the present, and then it's a very polished, like it can be voiceover, like whatever, and then there's like a lot of imagery, like a lot of things thrown at you very quickly. But yes, the dialogue and how things are written is so
but also
polished. It goes from one or the other.
but I'm also talking about the editing. Maybe you don't see it. Like think do you remember, okay, this is a fucked up scene from Nymphomaniac, but this is where I think he was pulling it in from. Sorry, my microphone is like buzzing. Got it. When she's losing her virginity in the first part. Do you remember when she's losing her virginity to Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah.
And she's like, I lost it in 3 pumps. And all of a sudden she's counting in her head with the voiceover, but it's also making tallies on the screen.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Of course.
That's what I'm talking about. He's starting to mess with this whole creative thing where, like, you don't see this in your mind. You don't see this in real life. It's so surreal. It's so surreal where like anything can happen in his universe. And that's
but do you think that
that's what I love about his movies, is that it's like anything can happen. He can do anything. And no one questions him. Or apparently people do question him, and I did too, but like people are wrong about this movie, where if they think that this is a bad movie, they need to watch it again.
Yeah, if they can stomach it. Well, don't you think like it happens in the house that Jack built too? Like, we obviously thinking back, we jump around, like we don't really know the timeline completely, like as it's happening, even though it's linear, like, and we have these incidents, right?
Right, there's the title pages is what you're talking about. And if no one's seen it, there's title pages that talk about the first incident, the second incident, so on and so forth, up to 5.
Yeah, and like the same thing in Nymphomaniac, what you just talked about with that scene, it's almost like, yes, there's no way that as that's happening, it's playing out with this tally on the screen, or like how analytical. But in terms of being in present tense and thinking backwards, like, you know, in the show, like Dispatches from Elsewhere, they say you only have a memory once. Every other time you think back to that memory, it's a memory of a memory. The way that our brains analyze like experiences that we've had, that's like how it's portrayed in her mind of remembering that, because like you could actually make that happen in your mind. What stands out to you in that prominent moment, like an emotional memory that's stuck in your head, that like actually it seems like he's trying to be like it's a lot of point of view stuff, obviously, like whoever his main character might be, but anyways.
Yeah, so like and we could also compare like the whole chapters almost. Let's just talk about Justice League for a second. There was chapters of that movie. It was a 4-hour long movie, and it didn't need to be that long. And yeah, chapters were happening, but we weren't in the characters' heads. Like we were Matt Dillon. You know, we were Matt Dillon in that film. But versus Justice League, watching the characters. You know what I
Right.
mean? And even in Justice League, I don't fully believe in powers. Like, I'm not immersed into that universe almost. And I want to say I want to be, but like there's better films like WandaVision or TV shows like WandaVision that totally immersed me into it. But
Yeah.
that movie itself could not. And now you're in this person's head, and even in WandaVision, you're in their heads. Like, you are them. In this, we are Matt Dillon, and we are able to totally be immersed into his head. So I think he's totally going, this is the first incident. Like, he's thinking this. Like, this is his thought. He's actually like making it like a doodle.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there's other points in the movie where he doodles in his head.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure, I forget what point in the movie, but I remember I think he was doodling in his head again, and while he was telling a story, because he's an architect. He's an what we think is an architect, at least, because he keeps trying to build this house that he can never build. And that's really relating to the title now. The house that Jack built is like, he doesn't completely build a house until the end. And he keeps going through all of these different methods. And I think that really relates to the methods of him building his house.
Yeah.
And every time he fails is relating to how he fails in his murders.
Absolutely.
Right? So it relates so close to that, at least.
I have like a theory. I have a theory about his mind, and it kind of hit me when we were rewatching it. But first of all, what's kind of creepy is that there's all this focus on art and artists and perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And as we see over his career of murder, he is perfecting his craft, right? We see his mistakes. We see how the compulsions come on in the first incident, which we can break down for sure. But like, in terms of, is Lars Von Trier saying that murder is art? Yes. It's like, it's grotesque. It's like he goes from like kitsch all the way to like the fine art of the world, architecture, like paintings, like cathedrals, like everything is included. So he's including this as a part of like whatever. But in this freezer room that he has rented out, we see he goes in and it's just full of pizzas, because that's what the owner had used it for, and he left the pizzas there. It's clean, it's organized, it's pristine. And as he starts piling up bodies in there, it becomes like more and more twisted, like grotesque. You see pizza boxes like scattered all over the floor. I think that because it's such a like insightful, and because we're actually in his mind as he's narrating, I think that this room in this freezer is actually his mind. And as it starts out with being so okay and so clean because of his OCD, it starts to just unwind and like unravel. And that room that he can't seem to get into, no matter how hard he tries, is like tapping into another part of his brain. And I think once that's accomplished,
100%.
That's what he builds. It is like he fucking did it. Like, he's a real artist. So what kind of like thing is Lars Von Trier trying to say about that? But it really has to do with the mind, and that is his mind, I think.
Right. And for the listeners and also the viewers, because we don't have any video this week, what we're trying to talk about is that there is an unopenable door in his freezer of dead people.
Yeah.
Right. And he just cannot get in. And throughout the film, we're just like, why can't he get into this door? Like, it's like,
it's so strange.
Like, it's very strange. It's just standing there, sitting there, being there. Like, you can't go over it, you can't go around it, and you can't go under it. So you got to go through it at one point, and you just can't.
Yeah. Well, also, like, in terms of him being an artist, we don't see it at first, but as he starts to move away from building houses, it's like his passion and what he cares about in life, what he thought he was born to do and be, he moves further and further away from it until it integrates like what his compulsions are about. And as we see, like, there's a couple incidents, I believe only two that really came to my mind, is that when he starts to make art out of his victims, which is like he makes a coin purse out of his girlfriend's breast
Oh, that's
that he cuts
right.
off of
That's
her,
right. Yeah,
and then
the booby bag.
yeah,
The
and then
boo-
his titty
the
the
booby
titty
bag.
pouch.
The titty no, the titty making an alliteration somehow. The
uh,
the titty
uh,
trinket bag. I don't even know. The titty tank. No, the titty something. Ah, God, there's the titty twister. I don't even know. Like I just want it to be an
we'll just call
alliteration.
it.
Like the
Did
booby
you call
bag. Like
it
the booby
the
bag
booby
is
bag?
great.
Yeah, that's good.
The booby bag is great.
Booby bag, but also like when he talks about hunting, he's the most pretentious piece of shit in the whole world. I don't know how women could stand him. Like that he talks about like how people hunt and I forget what they're called, but they line up all their kills and it's actually like a beautiful design. And he does that with the mother and her two children. So like as he starts to make things out of the bodies, no wonder it progresses to him building a house out of all of his victims put together. That it's just like, but you can see that there's a progression there. And I didn't even think about it till today. And I was like, oh shit, actually. So he is considered an artist. Lars Von Trier is grouping him into all of like, you know what I mean? All the way from kitsch to fine art. He's in there.
Well, we're also talking about like a relation with like BTK. What we've just found out about Bruce MacArthur in Toronto. Like there's so many different people that like to pose their victims.
Yeah.
And totally just take pictures. They liked taking pictures and keeping them because apparently it would tide them off until the next kill.
Yeah, or it's like they come back to it. A lot of serial killers like masturbated to their trophies of their kills.
Exactly.
And like,
yeah.
Think about it like this. I'm dating you. Like maybe we have like a picture together or something, and then if the relationship ends, or like any relationship,
You're
like,
gonna masturbate it.
that.
You're gonna masturbate to it.
No, it's a memento.
You're gonna masturbate to it. Oh my God, you're gonna hit the JO. You're gonna hit the JO to me. Oh my God, so honored.
So honored. But you know what I mean? Like that if you don't have that, like what people have keepsakes to remember. Imagine doing something as thrilling as murdering somebody and then having to live through it in like a fantasy in your brain. Like that's not fun. But you know what's funny? Like when you're talking about BTK, I started like doing some more research about this film because you're like, I'm drawing a lot of conclusions between the two, or even like Bruce. He didn't only take pictures, Jack, of his victims the same way, but he actually sent stuff into the newspaper and he named himself just like BTK did.
Yeah, the sophisticator, right?
Mr. Sophisticator.
Mr. Sophisticator is such a stupid fucking name. Like,
it
but
like they're like a bodybuilding competition.
But also you have to think about it this way, that it was on purpose. Like Lars Von Trier did that on purpose because it's such a stupid fucking name. Like BTK.
Yeah,
what did he try to be called again? What did he try to name himself?
Poetic Strangler.
The Poetic Strangler. My fucking balls. Like
he couldn't even spell the word poetic. Like
he can't spell poetic. Like I can even
like
do that, and
grammar.
I probably shouldn't have graduated from any high school.
Spell it right now.
Poetic. Poetic.
You did it just like a spelling bee. Now use it in a sentence.
I was pretty poetic about my poetic strangling balls saying.
That's a very good sentence.
Balls.
Now can I spell balls? No, that's not on the spelling.
That's no, don't ask me that. I can't do it, okay? It's BALLZ.
BALLZ. Oh my God, Jinx. Oh my God.
Yeah,
oh my
but
God,
Z,
Jinx.
but Z, because like you said Zed, I can't say Zed very much. Sometimes I do it because like people don't understand me in Canada unless I say Zed.
Yeah.
There's sometimes they're like, can you Z? What's Z? Okay, Zed. Yeah.
Well, disgusting. I think like Jack, I personally really love psychopaths. I find them very fascinating, and I do love how self-aware he was, because I do think that that's common a lot of really psychopaths are very intelligent, right? Sociopaths are a little bit more volatile, I guess.
But oh, now I have to. Okay, yeah. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, I appreciated how self-aware he was. But you can see it's like the one part they're talking about an incident, he has like almost like a bunch of cue cards, and it just says like manipulation, he throws it down. Impulsive, throws it down. Mood swings, throws it down. And he's just like, and he looks so smiling, like he's so smug, such an asshole. And he's just like a narcissist, throws it down, whatever. It's like he's so aware of this, but he can't change because he's so incapable of empathy. It's almost like you see him try, but then you realize that it's just based on one of these words that he uses to describe himself. And Lars Von Trier actually spells it out on the screen for you. Like,
Yeah.
and I love it. That's my favorite part of the whole film, honestly.
It's a great part.
Yeah.
Also, that reminds me of like another part of the film where you've got Matt Dillon is in the police headquarters or whatever, the police station.
Oh.
Do you remember that? Where he's getting
think.
questioned and he gets out of it because he's like, oh, maybe you should check into this. Like, oh, really? And that's exactly what I was saying earlier about Bruce MacArthur, where he got more information from the police than the police got from him.
Oh my.
And this is how shitty the police department can be. And
Yep.
they're not looking into this person because maybe just because they're white, and they're like, oh, this guy, you think this guy could do it? Fuck that. Like, just get out of here. Just get out of here.
No, it's true. Like, that's what's scary. I feel like they assume a lot of the time, depending on how a crime is committed, they think that the person is probably a little bit crazy or out there, but it's a spectrum. And guess what? Some of the scariest people in the world, the most psychopathic people at the very other end, can hide in plain sight and know and can be very successful and have like absolutely nothing to give away. Like, it's terrifying. And they made him purposefully like that, successful. They made him perfect, like, or Lars made him perfect. Like, a serial killer who has OCD, and I'm not talking about the compulsion to kill. I'm talking about to make sure that things are like pristine. And even though he makes mistakes, it's like some higher power is on his side, and that's pretty fucked up. But
I know, right? Yeah.
You can't. A serial killer having OCD is perfect in a way. Think about like
but also like it's not that there's a higher power. The higher power is the ignorance of the police. So
yeah.
it's not even a higher power. It's the ignorance of the police force in general. And that is a huge statement, but it's a real statement. Now, anyways, I just want to take a quick break because like I gotta pee. But I want to talk about him being a psychopath but becoming a sociopath within the freezer scenes.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm just gonna pee. Okay.
Yeah.
What's up? Do you remember that commercial? What's up? That was such a good commercial or campaign or whatever you would call it.
Oh yeah, it was classic.
So I think yes, he was a psychopath because it was so meticulous, right? Like his whole OCD scene, and we haven't really set it up for the audience that's listening. Can I
please break it down?
Yeah, break it down for me. Break it down for me, baby.
One, right?
Yes, honey, baby. I need you to break it down.
Y'all.
Oh, break it down.
Okay.
Break it down now.
One, right? Break it down now, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay. This is how I felt watching this again with you, and I don't know if you felt this way, but I'm like, I felt the compulsion coming on. And the reason why I say this is because the first incident, when he drives up and he sees Uma Thurman on the side of the street, or like on the side of a country road, and she has a flat tire. She got to change her tire and her jack is broken. And she basically says, like, I need your help. He's almost irritable about it because you can tell he's the kind of guy that like doesn't really care about people. Obviously, he doesn't have empathy. So anyways, how irritating she was, and like everyone says it. I think you said it. I think like Nancy said it, like Man, I would want to kill her too. Like, she's so annoying. But
100%. I would have killed her. I'm like halfway through the first incident, I was like, I don't want her to talk anymore.
No, but I think that that's not actually how things happened. I think that Lars Von Trier constructed that scene to make us as the viewers feel that compulsion and desire to want her dead. Because we need to be able to relate to the main character. And when he did it, we were just like, oh, thank God, like, she's fucking shut up already, right? But okay, here's like when it's like this, it's handy cam style, whatever. And like it's showing them as they're driving to the blacksmith. And it's literally, okay, it just really like I was just like, holy fuck, this scene is so incredible. It's like it's going between him looking at her saying something like, oh, like, I really shouldn't be doing this, like, you could be a serial killer, you're gonna kill me, like just sort of like saying these things. I don't believe what she was actually saying. And then every single time it goes between the two of them, it looks at this car jack that's right in between them, like it's identifying the weapon that he's going to use. And it's also a word that is Jack, which is the same as his name. I feel like all of these things, bright red, like all of these triggers in this scene are his compulsions of what he's feeling in his brain and what's going on. As much as it seems like, because it's just a little too absurd to be the truth. Who says stuff like that when they get into a car with a stranger? Why would you ever say that? It's like a little bit too out there. And to start off like that, because of his first incident, you can actually feel that that's what's going on in his head. Like Lars wanted us to feel that same thing so that we would have that like relief or whatever coming to kind of warn us. But I do believe it was all because, like, how can you make somebody feel compulsions if you're not a compulsive person? You know what I mean? It's difficult to do, but I think that was like on purpose.
I see it, but I think, like, I see what you're saying. I do. But I also, I wanna be the devil's advocate right now. Just because. Let's look at it from the other side. It wasn't his head. What if this person was really just that fucking annoying? Like,
so you think it's the victim's fault? So you think Jack's the victim in this scene, kind of?
In this scene, I specifically think he is. And I almost want to say that Lars Von Trier is trying to make us think that he is the victim in all of this.
So that's our way to relate, is by like making
it's the first incident, right? It's the first incident. It's the intro. Like, we always talk about this, where the intro can do things that the rest of the movie can't.
Yep.
It always is like that. And the fact that I felt like it was like again, your theory is totally accurate. I understand and I see it and I believe you. But let's just say that it was Lars Von Trier trying to make us see a serial killer the way he was made. Like, this movie, like you've told me, is the way he's made. He's trying to, like, in this first scene, he's trying to make us come down and like think about just getting rid of all of your other thoughts in the world. Lars Von Trier is trying to break you down to this person, and he's trying to make you like this character.
Yeah, he needs us to side with him in order for us to want to continue watching
the movie, right? Yeah. Okay. So now you're getting it. Okay. Cool. Sorry, I thought it was like.
No,
it's hard
I said that.
It's hard to talk about that too, though, right? Because you can't really. It's such a far out theory as well, right? Where like you're trying to get broken down into appealing to a serial killer. You know, like that's not a cool thing. And like that's what Dexter did, right? Like, you broke down and you're like, oh well. Honestly, but Dexter was kind of a shitty TV show, even though I liked it.
I love Dexter, but Dexter is also like a vigilante of sorts, right? How's the Jack Built? He goes from, yes, you're right. Whether like whatever that first scene is, I agree with you. I can see it both sides. I just wanted to put it out there as in like another option for sure. That it's like, but
Oh
you're
yeah.
right. The point of that scene is to make us be like, we know that it's coming, and like we're gonna want to be tied in to see what happens next. It can't just be like he's a monster in the very beginning. No, that's
Like,
not a good way to start a film.
well,
But like
also
then he goes,
the intro is supposed to be like, if you watch an intro of any film, you're supposed to know what's gonna happen for the rest of the film.
yeah,
You know, like, and
yeah,
he did it perfectly. And maybe
yeah,
that's even the art of it. Maybe he wanted us to fight about this. You know, see which one
of
was
course he
right, and
does.
then you don't even know, because he's like, well, fuck you. I'm the only one that's ever gonna know during this film.
In a way, like he reminds me so much of David Lynch, like because what like Eraserhead, no one has still to this day, no one has fully understood what it's about. That it's like you have these directors and like that's, you know what I mean? You want to fuck with people. You don't know, like, you can't just break it down because it's not just for entertainment purposes. It's not in like a Michael Bay film or something. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
this is actually, there's so much to it. You can see something from multiple sides, like every single part. Like, that's true filmmaking. But like, I agree with you. Yeah. So like, he goes from this first incident. I don't know. Do you want to talk about the other incidents? Like, do you have stuff to say
Of
about
course I
them?
do.
Yeah.
But before
Okay.
we do that, this will probably be like a halfway mark, just in case we want to make it 2 different
Yeah.
episodes. So what I'm gonna do is try to, like, let's do like a little bit of fun gaggy stuff. Ew, that sounds awful.
No pun
Gags,
intended.
just for laughs. Gags.
Like when he puts that gag in that chick's mouth. Is that what you mean? Like gag stuff. I'm like, yo, get your head out of the gutter, bro.
Yo, it's in the gutter. It's always in the
Yo, get
gutter
it
right
out of
now.
there.
Like, I don't
Oh my
know.
god.
Maybe it's just the distance, but hey, maybe it's just the rules right now where it's like, babe, like, you know?
Purse.
Yep.
Yep. At least you accept the truth.
The truth accepts me. Okay?
Oh, it's the other way around.
Yeah, always.
Gotcha. Okay.
So another thing is, before we get into the second part here, I gotta say, like, the amount of people that I've talked to recently, and we have talked about this off air, but on air, it's crazy how people think, oh no, there can't be serial killers still. There's just not. There's just no way. And
Right.
I'm like,
Doesn't make sense.
yeah. Do you know, like, okay, just like, I'm relating to Bruce MacArthur right now because he's been caught. He is sentenced. He's in jail. Like, he pleaded guilty to 8 murders, but he pleaded guilty to those 8 murders. But I still don't, like, it's a lot, and we're gonna get into that in a different show, Dick Smoothie, and that might be a really, really long episode because I've got too much information right now.
Yeah.
like my eyes are like, brr, like
Your brain is overflowing
yeah.
with the info.
Oh my god. I bought an audiobook.
I thought you were gonna say like an autograph something. But
No, okay. So actually, and I think it was very cool how Amazon advertised and named it, but Audible is the audiobook place for Amazon.
Right.
Right? But do you know what an Audible is? Like, it's apparently it's an audiobook, but do you know what the other meaning for Audible is?
I know what like an edible is, but I don't know what an audible is.
Audible is actually a move in football where you're where you're about to do a play, right? And then you, like, the captain of the team or whoever, like the leader of the squad out on the field, sees the opposition's tactic for this next play. So an audible is, hey, yo, he knows what we're going to do. Let's fucking flip it on him. Right?
Interesting.
So that's an audible. And I thought it was beautiful because it's an audible from film, or it's an audible from TV. It's an audible from a book. You know, it's
from a book. Yeah.
From a book.
From a book.
Yeah, man. It's so fucking good, man. It's just fucking good. It's just an audible, bruh. I thought it was a pretty good name. So anyways, I got a book on it. It's 8 hours long, and I'm only like 20 minutes into it.
Oh, man. Audiobooks are the shit.
But what it is, it's like a whole it's a deep dive into this entire case, into the people that were murdered and their families, like how they were brought up, how this and that. And I think that it'll be very important for me to listen to this for us.
Be scared?
Huh?
Should I be scared that you're getting so into serial killers now?
I don't know. I think it's not that I'm getting into serial killers. What this is me trying to make a good show. Like I wanna do something cool. I want to do something that I'm really interested in.
Yeah, honestly, like arming yourself with knowledge and doing research, like that's the best thing you can do for anything. Like never enough, you know. It's important to know as much as you can, and that's how you form like your unique opinions about things. So, anyways,
and the funny thing is, each and every source I read, they all talk about the same thing, but there's always one other thing that they're talking about that the other person isn't talking about, and it's just these small things where like the writers of the article have like found more interesting things on just this point itself, where like you can just it's a fucking gold mine. Like there's so many things. And this book, I feel like this book is the way into understanding everything too. It's like oh my god. The COVID crop duster is here. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh.
Rest in peace.
Oh my god. Bugle. Jesus Christ. I told you. Oh my god, it's so bad. It's so bad.
I think you better call 911. If there's been a sighting like that close to home, like.
Bugle, you can't do that anymore. That's awful. Like it's
He's
almost
so proud, I bet.
It's almost barf worthy too.
Oh god. I thought Link was a COVID crop after last night because he never farts and he was like farting so much, and I was like, I don't want you anymore. Like
oh my god, these farts are fucking awful. I'm scared to drink my beer that's in front of me because I'm scared of the particles that could have been on it.
Oh yeah, you'll taste it. Just give it a minute.
Give it a minute. It's gonna just stay on there.
Just like what we said at the beginning. Safety first. Safety first.
Listen to Bugle right now. Here we go.
What is
That's because of his because of his own fart.
Someone give him CPR. Good.
Are you okay, Bugle?
Oh my god.
Dude, maybe you shouldn't have farted so bad then. Like, bro,
like,
this is your fault. Like, I'm not even, like, I have no remorse for you. Like, you killed me and then you killed yourself.
Oh, that's the way you gotta do it, I guess.
Also, side note, I want everyone from our podcast listeners to give Link all of their love and prayers. Link is Tash's like bugle boy, you know?
My Pomeranian.
Yeah, Link is my boy too. He's amazing. I love looking at his mustache. He's got a mustache, and we'll post a picture about it too. But
the regular Charlie Chaplin, yeah.
He's been having a hard time. He's getting older, and I think we need to just send him all the love because he needs some love right now. He needs confidence. He needs people to know and feel like and send him the thoughts that like just get better and bugle, like it's not helping when you're doing that.
He's like, what about me?
You okay, bud? Yeah, I think he's better now. No, is he? I can't tell. But Link needs his love. His poor little back, his bottom part, I think, right? Is it his butt?
Yeah, it's his spine.
Yeah, it's his spine, but it seems to be affecting definitely his lower back, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So we need to give him
Had
a
a rough
love
go.
to the what?
He's had a rough go lately.
Right?
He's had a rough go.
Is that English?
He's had a rough go lately.
Oh, a rough go. Like I heard like something else. I don't know. Like
He's
maybe
had a
I'm just
rough
dumb.
go, as in like RUFF, a rough go. That
A rough
little
go.
boy dog just gives some love and healing, and he's just literally attached to me all day and all night now while he gets better.
Well, at least you're there for him. Like he feels love. Okay, like.
Oh yeah.
And I don't care what like anybody says, but you are like the best dog owner I have ever met. Okay, listeners, this girl actually roasts sweet potatoes for this dog all of the time. Just roasts them, has them ready.
I just finished up a batch in the oven right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like roasting up some sweet potatoes, real sweet potatoes, not the fucking like dog food that I get for Bugle so he can poop better. It's literally real sweet potatoes. What a lover of animals, and I gotta say, like, this dog, he's about to turn 9, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I think he's the sweetest dog. He does have his moments where he barks a lot, which is fine.
Yeah, he's just like me as well.
But I also think that that's what strains him out, is that he gets so anxious and he starts barking and it like throws his back out almost. It's like because he leaves the ground. Like his front paws leave the ground when he barks because it's so powerful. And oh gosh, like now I'm scared for Bugle to be around Link, because I'm like, I'm gonna have to keep Bugle off of him, like, because they love each other. Link loves to just lick Bugle in the eye, like straight up in the eye, and Bugle keeps his eye open for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, he forgets about his lids. So.
It's like, why don't you just close your eyeball? And I always tell Bugle, I'm like, hey man, if you don't like it, tell him off.
I know. I feel like they should like stop using tongues and just give each other butterfly kisses. That'd be cute.
I know. That would be better. More ideal.
More ideal for sure, yeah.
Anyways, let's get back to it. We had a sidebar there. A big sidebar.
Okay, so we want to talk about second incident.
The second incident, is that the OCD one?
Yes, I believe so.
I think so,
or like
too.
Whatever incident that you want to focus on, I was just putting like.
No, I think we should go through it. Yeah, hook me up with the second incident. If you want to break it down, hook me up.
Okay, well, throw me a line and I'll hook it for you.
I threw you the line already, babe.
Yeah, if that is the second incident, like his second murder, where it's like just as painful, it's actually more painfully awkward than his first murder. Wouldn't you agree?
It is. It
It's
is.
actually so uncomfortable. I can't watch a lot of it because it's so awkward.
I loved it actually. I
It's
still
so
loved it,
honest.
but
Yeah.
you're right. It was hard to watch because of the awkwardness. Like it was
Oh
almost like
God.
for me, like whenever you see like a comedy movie and like the audience knows more than the character,
Yeah.
and you're like hiding your eyes behind like a pillow or just your hands, and you're like,
Yeah.
no, stop, it's killing me. This was in this horror film.
It
Like
totally
it
was. And like
was.
you're right. The first scene, like the first incident or his first murder is like you see all these things coming to light, but you don't really get the tone of it yet because it's still kind of serious.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
second murder is where the comedy comes into play, and you're almost like, I want to laugh. I'm smiling, which is really interesting to me because get this, people who are on the sociopath psychopath spectrum tend to laugh and smile at uncomfortable moments because they don't understand true emotion. So don't you think it's fucked up that Lars Von Trier made a dark comedy of the darkest content you can ever imagine, and there's like moments where we want to laugh or we feel so uncomfortable by it that we smile and we smirk. That I think like he's so thoughtful. It's like it's unbelievable. I think that that's on purpose, but like this scene, like every single part of it is so uncomfortable and awkward. It almost feels like you're watching the outtakes because of like how things are just like going wrong or like messing up, or it's like almost feels like he's messing up his lines because he goes into this whole like he follows the lady to her home, tries to break into her house, realizes the door is locked. Then she comes to the door and he's like, "I'm a cop.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
we're looking for this guy,
That's
like
right. That's
whatever."
right. I forgot about that. And she's
Yeah,
like, "Let me see
he
your
just stands
badge.
there.
Let me
He
see your
stands there the
badge."
whole time.
And he's like, "Oh, wait. I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding. I'm actually just like I'm going door to door for like some real estate,
Insurance.
right? Insurance.
Yeah,
Insurance fucking stuff, you know? I'm just making sure."
yeah,
And you know what? It's good that you didn't let me in.
yeah,
It's good cuz you know, I was going to come in and kill you. And guess
yeah.
what? I'm
It's
still
so
coming
fucked
in and
up.
I'm gonna kill you. But like
Yeah,
I'm gonna fail at doing it. I'm gonna fucking choke you out, and then I'm gonna like not do it long enough so that you wake up and I get to be like, oh no, and put a pillow underneath your head, right?
give you some water. Like try to
Give you
let's
some
literally
water.
just
Just hey, let me make it better, and just
yeah.
fucking kill you anyways. Let me
It's
make
quite
you feel better
insulting.
before I kill you because I want to do it again. I want to make sure that I get to see you die twice.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. It's pretty insulting that like the first two murders and well after that too are women. They make a statement about that later on, like the second half of the film, but how stupid women look in this movie. And that's his narcissism. Because we know all of his personality traits and he tells us what they are, we can be like, that's your narcissism, that's your manipulation, that's your this, that's your that. He literally sees a picture of her dead husband and then he goes, oh, it's about the insurance policy and oh, I can fix your pension and I can do this, whatever. Then he gets let inside and what does he say to her? He goes, I can't believe you made me stand out there. You humiliated me. That
Yeah. Oh,
that's his narcissism.
that's so fucked up. You're right. I forgot about
Yeah.
that too.
So
He's like, yeah, you made me wait outside for that long
yeah.
when I was gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Like you made me wait outside when I wanted to kill you.
Yes. He gets like outraged. It just keeps building and yeah, he keeps repeating, then he goes after her and he
And,
fucks up. But
and then he's like,
when
I'm sorry. I can't believe I did this. I can't believe
I
I did
know
this.
it's like he doesn't do the same as with Uma. It's so weird that like yeah, you see this, you almost have this false because you don't know his personality traits yet. You get this false sense of compassion from him, like or like he's trying to understand like empathy. And I think a lot of sociopaths and psychopaths are trying to do that. That's why they study people, right? But he spends a lot of time alone, which I think is why he starts off as being so awkward. Then you see him start to have relationships with women, and those become his targets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That in the beginning, his like straight up awkwardness or like almost like not wanting to be around his victims and like his irritation is like because he doesn't understand a lot of human behavior and emotions. But I think that's why he starts to actually form like long-term or short-term relationships with various women, maybe at the same time, like as his victims, because he's actually using them to understand.
Hey, look, like, and honestly, like, when I was watching the movie with Matt Dillon in these glasses, I was like, whoo-wee, I'm okay with this. Like, like, oh my God, like, I would let you in.
Well, up until a certain part, we don't think he has any male victims, so you'd be like, I'd be safe. But
Wow,
like,
yeah,
that's not
but
the case.
you know, he doesn't discriminate, and this is gonna be a part that kind of comes up in the Bruce MacArthur case, but it's like, you know, the killer didn't discriminate, but the Toronto police discriminated against like other ethnicities.
Yeah.
Like it's like like the worst thing to do is be racist when the person that's killing people is not racist.
Yeah.
Like, how are you supposed to think like that killer if you're the most racist fuck in the town?
That's true.
And I do think that there was a lot of racism in the movie as well when it came to the police. They had no issues with the white peoples telling them, like, that one scene where is that the second scene, the second incident,
The one we just talked about.
where he strangles her to death, right? So he's like, he has this little OCD incident as well where he can't leave because his OCD is so infuriating about, did I leave any evidence behind? And you could do that for hours and hours and hours. And that is what he did. He did it.
It's
what
so
was it?
painful.
It's so painful because usually there's a rule called the rule of third in film, in comedy, whatever. You do it 3 times and it's done, right? But he did it more than 3 times because you know that rule, you know that it's gonna be fucking aggravating, and he's trying to do it to you.
Yeah.
It's so fucking aggravating that, like, how many times did you do it? 5? I think it was 5 times.
Oh, I don't even think we saw how many. He was there in like clearly like probably in the late afternoon when he showed up, and it was the middle of the night.
No, like in the actual film, like maybe it was a lot of passing time that we don't know about. But what it showed in the film, I'm pretty sure it was 5 times that he goes back inside of the house to clean up, and then the police come. And
it's actually like, didn't you find it so frustrating when that was happening? Like that
oh my God,
sound, it becomes this like hollow, like ticking sound, and it's like you felt the crazy. Like Lars was so good.
And that's another poetic part of his editing, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like you're in his fucking mind again. And it's this like, it is beautiful to him. He's like, I just pulled this off. But then he's like, wait, did I pull it off? And the poeticness is negative almost, where it's like this, like, boof, 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 all these shots of him, like, where did I leave this evidence? Where did I leave it? Where did I leave it? Where did I leave it? And it's truly fucked up. And again, only Lars Von Trier can get away with this right now. Like, and being so serious, so real, so fucking beautiful at the same time. How does he do it? I don't know. I want to know.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I looked up Lars Von Trier on Instagram. Guess what? He's definitely not there.
No surprise there.
It's no surprise there. No surprise at all.
He's cool.
Yeah, no, he's. I looked up Matt Dillon. he is also not on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that shocking?
I don't think
actually?
I can find anyone that's going to be a part of this film that's going to give us any answers, but I really want answers. I do.
I
I
highly
do.
recommend you watch all the interviews with Matt Dillon because a lot of people interviewed him after this role.
I
Because
want
it was
to
so unusual for him to
I
take
want to
it.
I want to read the script. I want to
Yeah.
read the script. I want to see. I want to honestly, I would, if it's 120, 250, 300 pages of book, script, I would love to read it all. Like it's
Yeah.
the way he wrote it, and I'm like for us, like I'm trying to write a script for another serial killer, right? And it's very interesting how to tell something like that. I still don't know how it's gonna work out. Like, this is my first attempt.
Do you struggle with like the perspective or something? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, but it's perspective, but it's also like, how do you tell it? Like, do you tell it chronologically? Do you give little hints of this and that first, or what? Right? So
Depends on the killer, I guess.
of course it does.
Slashers are hard though.
I think I'm doing so well so far, but there's a lot of articles and there's a lot of content to go through for this guy who used to shave off his victim's hair and keep it for himself. He was also a mall Santa Claus.
That's creepy. Thank God he wasn't a pedo because that would be so creepy.
Well, technically, like I told you last night, he could. Like I told you last night.
Dirty talk, yeah.
Yeah. Did
night.
you know when I told you last night? Like, this guy did possibly kill a teen in Ottawa.
Like, yeah.
Remember that?
There's no ageism when it comes to him.
There's no ageism. There's also no discrimination to him. And that was the issue. Again, like the Toronto police were just like, oh, well, we don't have to talk to these people. These peoples don't need the voice. Like we don't like it could have been like a racist serial killer, but he's not. So like, why do I have to go talk to them? And then you realize that the Toronto police are super fucking racist. And like I was telling you the other day too, is racism is everywhere still. Toronto is supposed to be a place of non-discriminatory structure, right?
Yeah, it's so multicultural.
Supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, we're just having people that are suppressing themselves because of this city. They want to live in this city because they thrive in this city, but they really have no fucking issue with killing, with just hating on people of color. It's just so gross. And that's something that we have to think about. Anyways, we're gonna get into that in a different episode on a different show. But like, there's so many things that we could talk about.
To relate what you said back to the film, like you're right. It makes sense if he killed 60 people over 12 years, and as you can see, like what you just said about Bruce, like it's really difficult. We don't know exactly when this took place, I believe, but it seems like it was at the beginning era of the serial killer when they were born. In the 70s, maybe?
Yeah, it felt like the 70s. It felt like the 70s with the glasses and everything. Yeah.
Even like the hairstyles. But like what you can see from Jack, we believe, and we are misled as the viewer for the first half of the film, that he has, at least he targets females. But as we come to learn by the end, literally anybody is a target for this person. So it's actually really relatable to what you just said. Profiling somebody like this is quite like damn near impossible. because anybody could be a victim, you know?
Yeah,
A
100%. Like,
child, an old lady, he runs over an old lady like on the fucking road. He just becomes reckless, you know?
yeah,
Then he kills
and that's when
them,
he
like,
becomes a sociopath, and he
yeah,
definitely becomes a sociopath, especially when he unlocks that door.
yeah.
What's the third incident?
I think you had it written in your notes. I'm not sure exactly because there's like different spacing after that. It could be simple, like
Here, let me
his
see.
girlfriend Simple.
Oh, Simple. Tell us more about Simple. What did she
Well,
look like?
ironically, she was a babe for sure, but it's ironic. It's ironic that he's sophisticated and she is simple. So obviously, like, it's degrading. The relationship itself is degrading. He is trying. This is where he himself learns the most how to have empathy because he fakes it real good with her. Like, he pulls out all the stops. He is so charming. Like, every single thing he throws at her and she just eats it up because guess what? She's clearly insecure and she's clearly vulnerable. So she is literally like a prey. He's a predator.
Is it the
And
tea party?
oh my God, that's the hunting one.
That's the third incident. The tea
Oh
party.
my God. You can talk about this one. I don't want to talk
This
about it.
no,
It's
no.
so disturbing.
This is the one on my notes that you were writing for us.
It's a really painful scene. Like I was like tearing up at the end. It's just so fucked up. But like yeah, this was I don't
Oh
know how
my
to think.
God! Now I remember it. It took me a second to remember it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
You're
you have
right.
this.
Okay,
You
I
have
will.
Jack.
Do you
Yeah.
want me? Do you want me to break it down? I will.
Well, I'll break it down in terms of like how he sets it up, which is like obviously for hunting. He brings his girlfriend and their two kids to like a shooting range.
And this is when it's relatively like just a normal day.
Yeah,
Like it's just a
exactly.
normal
They're
day. It's
having a
just like,
picnic.
hi, we're gonna go outside. We're gonna do this. We're gonna have some fun.
Yeah, and he sets it up like when he's talking to Verge because he's having this dialogue with Verge the entire movie as he's becoming more introspective and self-reflective, and he basically sets it up like he's teaching them how to hunt and he's getting them to shoot a target. But what he's telling Verge is when it comes to hunting, like when you're shooting deer and there's a mom, so like what is it, a doe and two fawns, you shoot the smallest fawn first because the bigger fawn and the doe can both survive without the smallest one. Then you shoot the middle fawn because once again, the mother can survive without the babies, but the babies can't survive without the mother. Then, like out of like respect, this is how you do it. You shoot the doe last. So go ahead.
Well, okay, so that that basically explains the entire scene. But you know what I have to say is that he at the end of okay, so the first part of the scene again, like it's just like, hey, like we're gonna go out for a picnic, we're gonna have a tea party, like let's do this and let's do that, and then it just cuts. It's so aggressive. The cutting of this next scene that you just described, the cut into it was so aggressive and disturbing that like I'd have to say this is probably the scene that got it canceled.
Well, can I ask you a question?
You can
Because
ask me a question
that's a
anytime.
fuck up. I believe like when we were watching it, I think we didn't watch the uncut version because I was watching clips today from the uncut version and like you actually see him blow a hole in the kid's head and we did not see that. Like
Really?
they cut it. They cut it. And you know when the little kid gets shot and his leg blows off, you actually saw everything happen. That
No.
we
Oh
saw the little kid pop.
no.
We see the older kid pop his head out. So basically, like he sets this up. He's
Yeah,
showing them
it's
how to
just
shoot.
like
He's having a bonding moment with their kids, and then it cuts and it shows the three of them hiding behind like one of these like landmarks in the shooting range itself, hiding from him. We don't know what he said to them to make them basically run. It literally cuts from like a good time to them hiding.
Oh,
Okay.
fuck. So we
And
watched
then,
the censored version?
yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, you gotta
And
be
I
kidding
I
me.
saw quite a few clips today from the uncut version. I was like, I don't remember seeing that. Yeah, we watched the uncut. Or
Okay,
sorry, we watched
so
the regular version.
so send those to me right now, or like very soon. We'll take a break while you do that. Not this very second taking a break, but like if you can send it, just send it.
Yeah, yeah. I'll see if
So
I
I
can
can,
find him. Yeah.
yeah, so I can see it. That's really embarrassing on my part.
Well, it makes sense. The film's only 2.5 hours that we watched. I'm like,
Well,
yeah, it must have been like 4 hours.
we also were just like so excited that we found it.
Yeah, it was a
You
good
know,
quality.
like
But honestly, I think the uncut version is very hard to find. I'm not even kidding.
yeah, like we'll have
Because
to.
people were outraged. People were losing their
That's what I'm
shit
saying.
about
Like
it.
I wanna see it. I
Yeah.
do want to
But
see it, and I can't find anyone who's worked on it. Like there's like I'm gonna have to go through the IMDb cast list or
yeah,
like the crew list, and hopefully find somebody.
it'd be nice. But yeah, so like the kids, all the three of them are hiding from him, and he's up in the crow's. I don't know. I'm gonna call it a crow's nest. It's not. That's on a boat. But I'm
Mr.
saying,
Sophisticator.
yeah, sophistication.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Sophistication.
So he's looking for them, and he's basically trying to get them out. And just as he has narrated to Verge, the youngest boy runs out first, and he shoots him in the leg, and his leg actually blows off. And then the mother runs out, and at the time you're kind of like worried that, oh no, like now he's going to shoot her. But we know he's described, no, the next victim will be the older son, because
Right.
that is how you hunt. Because he's
And
such
then
a
you bring out the dough.
Yeah, he's such a pretentious fuck that he has to follow these rules. He's so pretentious. Then you see the older boy push his head out from like the mound of mud.
Yeah.
And you actually in this clip see his head get like, you see the bullet hit his head. Okay. And then she like doesn't know what to do. And then he makes them have a tea party. He puts their bodies after.
That's right. That's what the tea party is. Where he's like, my taxidermy is so great. Like,
yeah, like,
but it's
like
not. It's terrible.
Aesthetic.
It's fucking disgusting. Like these people have been blown apart, and he thinks he's so proud of himself for having a tea party with his family that wasn't really well put together.
Oh, man,
Pun intended.
Then he goes, he asks her what her favorite number is. She says 12, and he gives her 12 seconds to go have cover. Doesn't go so well. She somehow is like just in complete shock.
Oh my God, that's in our notes. That's right. It's in my written notes.
Yeah. And then he creates one of those things. We need to look up the word. He basically goes into the forest. The whole setting of this hunting experience is that he talks about how people would go and hunt off when there was too many of one animal, and that usually happened with crows. And by the end of it, he's taken all of these like pine needles and he's made a rectangle. And inside the rectangle is probably like, I don't know, 30 crows that he shot after this, laid in rows. And then he has the three of their bodies at the bottom. And it's such a beautiful, grotesque image at the same time. It's what I'm talking about, art. Like, he's literally taking something that's so disgusting and making it like visually appealing. And it's like you look at it and on your jaw drops and you're just like but at the same time you're just like, whoa, like mind blown. Why does he do this? Like, it's so messed up. Like, Lars Von Trier, oh my God,
he really just wants to mess with people. I think that, again, sorry, when
are you?
well, I had to burp. I'm sorry. Anyways, Lars Von Trier. Now I don't even know what I was gonna say. Fuck.
Oh, I was just like, Lars Von Trier like does just like he does this craziest stuff, like the things that he makes people watch and what he's trying to say without saying it.
God, well, he's forcing us to watch these things that are true, and I think that he's talking about his own life now.
Okay.
I think that he's actually starting to talk about the murders that he's done. And I think that's why the movie didn't make much money, because everybody knows when he's talking about something and making a movie about it, he believes it's real.
Yeah.
And I think that this realness was real, and I think he was killing people, and
Well,
no one's figured it out yet other than us.
yeah, like it's almost like too in your face and in plain sight that you overthink things, that you don't see what's obvious,
He's like, yeah, the BTK guy, yeah, he's in jail,
Yeah.
but it was actually me.
Well, okay, I want to take what you're saying and give it some validation, which is that people who may not know a lot about Lars von Trier, he suffers from a lot of like mental issues. He
Oh, for
actually does.
sure,
He has
100%.
a shitload of phobias. He has depression, anxiety. I'm pretty sure he has OCD. So bringing it back to that scene where there's a voiceover, like this is narration, and you literally see Matt Dillon throwing out these cards of like these personality traits or like things that are not positive. And people have called him a narcissist. Like he's definitely a narcissist, Lars von Trier. Let's be real. It doesn't make me like him any less, but it is the truth that it could be him saying those things about himself, because by the end when they're like talking about art and they're being like he's being very condescending about everything, he's splicing clips from his films in with some of the most important like art history of like human civilization. So he's putting himself in there, and that's what he's saying about himself. You know what I mean? So it's like, is he just being cocky, or is he like actually taking a stab at himself and criticizing himself for his own personality disorders? I don't know.
I think he's taking a stab at himself. Yeah.
You would think, but he's cutting himself down. He wants people to hate him for it.
But the funny thing is, he's glorizing himself, though. He's glorizing himself while he wants people to like actually find out about him and take him down. Like like he is the perfect classification for a serial killer and a psychopath.
Yeah.
He is along with Quentin Tarantino.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like there's a couple of people out there that like I have like a true feeling where it's like these filmmakers are like, hey, you haven't caught me and I'm telling you how I'm killing people.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Mr. Sophistication saying, hey, I'm Mr. Sophistication and I know what I'm doing, but he has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, I to be honest, like obviously serial killers have been around for a long time. There's always been people that have been like really into them, but they're blowing up a lot right now. It's becoming super mainstream, and I'm okay with it. But it's also kind of irritating. But I love that Lars von Trier hopped on the bandwagon before it became too mainstream. That it's like he made that creative choice to make this film, because anyone that I know who's watched it has not seen any of his other films. So he got a lot of people targeted, like as his target audience was a lot bigger than what it would be for like Melancholia.
I agree too. Or Nymphomaniac, especially, because Nymphomaniac is disgusting. Like it is disgusting. So I think, and honestly, like I guess we watched the edited version, but even if I saw it, I'd say, yeah, this is disgusting, but this film is they're all very true. They're like, it's so aggressively right. You know, it's and again, that's why I'm like he has to have lived through these things.
Yeah.
And he has had to have written about these things as if it was him. And
he's not afraid to show anything grotesque.
And he's also not afraid to say, I'm a serial killer. That's what I'm trying to say is like film, beautiful, yes. But listen to him. He's probably killing more people right now.
And you're right. Like, even if he's not one, I'm not saying he is or isn't, but if
Yeah,
he's
it's
made the statement that his films are about his life. So if he's seriously putting that theory out there and welcoming criticism or that thought, like
yeah.
that, you know what I mean? Like, he's taking that chance.
I
And
totally believe that he's actually
yeah,
really making movies about real life, and he's not
yeah,
killing the actors and actresses because he's like, yeah, this is about my life. You're just gonna
yeah.
act it out.
Well, yeah, like
And
breaking the,
like Matt Dillon's like, okay, well, I'll act it out. Just don't make me be a part of it.
yeah, I'm
And
not
that's
your
why,
confidant.
and that is why Matt Dillon is not on any social media, because he's probably being scrutinized right now
Yeah,
by
yeah,
doing a movie like this. And it's an again amazing movie, but he is looked at as if he's a serial killer now.
right. Yeah,
You
it's a
know, like
professional
it's
risk
like
that you
you
take.
have to watch out for what movies you're gonna do, and you just messed with Lars Von Trier, who's probably actually killing people.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
A
I just
hundred
think that the
percent,
only
a
way
hundred
that
percent.
I have a theory about this film, which is the only way that he got away with being so grotesque and showing us some of the most horrendous things that you could see in a movie is by trying to balance out the scales by showing so much beauty at the same time. And it's like we would have to get a taste for like the grotesque, and then he brings you back to like a neutral place by showing you like art and talking about culture. And like, you know what I mean? It's like he had to do that.
And
Imagine it was
also,
all one way.
some of your favorite scenes in this movie was when it was so disgusting, but he played classical music over top of
Yep.
it.
Yep.
And please talk about that, because I feel like you have so many things to say about that, because I do too.
About the music.
The music being over top of the grotesque parts, because
Mm.
he's glorifying it. He's like, this is what serial killers think and feel. And again, that brings me back to him being a fucking serial killer, because he thinks that it's beautiful. He thinks it's beautiful.
But is that just his statement on saying that art, 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 like everything is art?
Yeah, but
You
he
could say
believes
that a
it's art.
serial
Yeah,
killer.
he
Yes,
believes it.
yes,
Yeah, I believe it. I
but
believe what you're
he might
saying.
not
He
believe
believes it's
it.
art, but people believing that, posing and taking photographs afterwards of killing somebody, and if you think that's art, then yes, it is art, and I believe it's art to them, but
Yeah,
they are killing people, and they are
yeah,
putting these people into positions and taking photographs of them. So you have to
yeah,
understand that, like, y- wow, yeah, but no, yeah, but
yeah,
no.
but
Yeah,
well,
but no.
as we
No,
can
no,
see,
no, no, but yeah, but no.
like the whole film is about his progression and how he evolves. It's about evolution. And you don't just see that in terms of his practices, in terms of his self awareness, in terms of him tapping into like a compartment of his mind, like metaphorically and like whatever. But it's also that how many times when they're talking about art and architecture, do they talk about the process of how they used to build things and how like people learned about math and physics to the evolution of building buildings to use less material and be able to stand up to like wind and like the elements. Like, so you know what I mean? And that's all pushing him to build this house because that's where his brain is at, right? But it is
Right.
all about
Yeah.
evolution. Every single part, even how he interacts with his victims, it goes from not being able to hold a conversation in a fucking car to having like an intimate relationship with somebody.
Totally true. Ah, there's so many things about this film that make us argue with each other, but like are totally valid. Totally valid.
So what do you have to say about Simple? That's it? That's a very strong argument. Okay.
Yeah, well,
You win
anyways,
that one.
I actually want to get into the fourth incident.
So,
The fourth incident with the younger woman, the sly devil with a telephone.
yeah.
What happens in that scene, baby?
Well, Lars establishes that she's very insecure. He comes over to her house and she's just like, I don't think that you really love me. Funny how someone who's so simple can tell that there's something very wrong with this person than before anybody else could. I think there's a lot of irony in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because her whole issue was like, I don't believe that you love me.
And she wanted him to love her.
Yeah, it's really sad.
It's so sad, but it's kind of gross at the same time because she doesn't even know.
Yeah.
She doesn't
He doesn't
even know.
until like the last minute, and like so basically he wheels her back in, he gets her out of her bad mood, and then they're flirting, whatever. Like it's like you know what I mean? It's very playful. But then you see him go because he can only upkeep this level of empathy for so long, and you see it switch. And he starts to call her simple. He starts putting her down, insulting her. He becomes a real asshole, which we haven't seen in that sense because he never really said those kinds of things to women in conversation. That's why I'm talking about this evolution, like even how he's interacting with his victims. And then he confesses to her that he's Mr. Sophistication, or she actually guesses it. And then like that's how funny, like he makes her feel so stupid, but she knew all this stuff. Nobody else did. So the irony in that. She runs out, leaves like her apartment building, and comes down to a cop who's like on the docks or whatever, and it's just like, someone's trying to kill me, blah blah blah, and he's like,
and the cop doesn't
man.
even fucking care.
She's like, ma'am, have you had something to drink tonight? And then Jack comes down and he confesses, like oh yeah, like I'm a serial killer, like this big like elaborate thing, and the cop's like, take your girlfriend back inside,
Yeah,
stop
like
making a scene.
yeah, stop making a scene. Like apparently this guy is like, I'm a fucking silly serial killer.
Yeah,
like
so
I've been killing everybody around here, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you were alone, I would have killed you. Like like just arrest me. And they're like, no, you're not worth my time. You seem crazy.
Yeah, so
it's not like you're actually admitting to me that you've killed people. You're just crazy. Stop trying to like prove that you're a serial killer when you're not.
Yeah, and we see this with a lot of his victims. He looks for a justification, whether it be that his victim is annoying as fuck. He got justification from the law in that moment to be like, okay, I'm going to take her inside and I'm going to do what I want to do now. And he actually degrades her so much that he makes her scream out the window for help just to prove to her that nobody gives a shit about her. He breaks her down so much and makes her so submissive that she willingly gets tied up and he cuts her boobs off. Like, what is more degrading than that?
And uses her tit as a booby bag.
Yeah, he buys a fucking Full Metal Jacket bullet and he takes his fucking money out of his titty bag. Like, are you kidding me?
No, it's a booby bag. It's a booby bag. I know you don't like the booby. I know you don't like the boobies saying, but it is a booby bag.
I'm not into boobies personally.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm into your boobies, and I think your boobies are great. So I'm gonna say a booby bag, just in case I need to, you know, like chop them off and make it into a booby bag. I mean, it'd be a perfect size, perfect fit for me.
Yeah, like you got your keys, your ID, got some bills in there. You know what I mean?
Oh, a couple bills, especially since I'd be draining your bank account.
Oh my god.
I thought about it, you know, like just in case. Just in case.
I spent all my money.
Yeah, right. No. You spent all your money on Link. Okay, that's fine. Not a big deal.
No, I spent it all in Western Union to somebody else, so sorry.
Oh, fuck. Fuck.
Oh man. Okay. So yeah, what
Okay,
do you
but
think of
okay,
that scene?
okay, this has got to be the finale here because we've been talking about this for a really long time, almost 2 hours, and I think the people need to know what happens at the end.
Lay it all out.
Oh baby, oh baby, he finally gets into that fucking room, that fucking room in his freezer that he could not
Wait,
get into.
I just figured out it. Another word for a purse is a tote, a titty tote for
A
his
titty
money.
tote? Oh, tote. A titty tote, actually. I like that so much more than a booby bag.
Me too.
A
Titty
titty
tote. Okay.
tote? Yeah, a titty tote.
So he gets into the room. He
With
gets
his
into this.
with his titty tote. Um
The keys were in his titty tote all along.
Oh my god, like why didn't he just look in there? Anyways, he gets in. He gets in and he's looking in there. We don't get to see what he's seeing. And what's his face is there, right? What's his name?
Virgil.
Virgil. Fucking
Well,
Virgil.
but we all know it's Virgil. So
Fucking Virgil.
yeah.
Virgil is there, is like, yo, you can make this house. And this architect gets to work. He's doing all he can do, and he just, he's architecting the shit out of it. And then all of a sudden you realize it's just a house of dead people. And
he's so happy with it.
I was pretty happy with it too because it looked pretty good. Like,
you know what?
If it was actually built out of dead people, then like good on them. Like that was pretty solid.
I know. I mean, if there was a leak, you're kind of SOL. There's definitely some holes in there. You're not gonna stay warm or dry, but it's a place to live nonetheless. And you know what? This could be like him literally like forming like these bodies. This is his mind. If this room is his mind, and he was tapping into part of his brain, he's communicating with it, but there's still this disconnect. It's like all these bodies piling up and things getting so disorganized. Like his compulsions are different. He used to be so obsessed with making sure that his bedspread was perfectly neat and no wrinkles to being like so careless and reckless. Like he's a totally different person. He's changed. But if I didn't know any better, if this is about Lars Von Trier, tell me this. If he was satisfied with how it was at the end and constructed the perfect house, because that is the frustration all along. He keeps knocking down these houses he's trying to build on this plot of land that he bought. Mm-hmm. Doesn't it seem like Lars Von Trier is saying this is the final film I'll make?
Oh my god. Because he's like, you haven't even looked into me yet. Like I've been killing all these people and you haven't caught on. And I am the greatest serial killer of all time. That's basically that's actually basically what he's saying with, oh my god, babe, you just fucking cracked through. Like he is one of the greatest serial killers of all time.
I really think so. And isn't it interesting that not only that, at the end, he has to accept his punishment for what he's done, right? But also, he waits until the end when he constructs his house to put his film clip in these like montages or whatever of all this other art, that it's like he's not saying it until the very end that he's there. It's like he's basically saying Jack reached his artist status. Lars Von Trier has reached the ultimate like auteur status, like as a serial killer, whatever. But,
he
like,
actually
that's
has.
the perfect way to close it off.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's actually fucking blowing my mind right now. I didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah, it's been rolling
and if anyone's actually listening to this goddamn episode, listen to this part. Because that's actually fucking dope. Like, that's actually that's the best theory that I've ever heard. Like he's fucking done. He's like, catch me now, bitch.
Yeah, come get me.
Like I'm ready for it too. Like
I'm serious. I'll put money on it. I would like to see if he comes out with anything else because I think this is it for him. I really do. And we
Okay.
don't know because
Okay.
he's not consistent.
Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that he comes out with another film.
Yeah.
What do you think it would be about? It was, of course, it's going to be another murder, but like, would it be? It wouldn't be like Rader or MacArthur or anyone that was posing victims. I feel like it would be more like, I'm taking the organs out of people.
Thank you. I was about to say it's got to be something to do with like cannibalism or like
Yeah, he's taking the
a
fucking
lot of more
organs.
anatomy.
Like he believes in the surgery that he's doing, even though he's not a surgeon. He has no idea how to actually like cut people open.
Yeah.
He's just doing it because he thinks he is. Amazing.
Totally. Like he's already taken the approach of making
It's
someone who's like
it's
hyper
the
intelligent.
fucking human centipede idea.
I was just gonna say
Yeah,
that.
it's like it's
up.
totally the human centipede
And
idea.
the human centipede guy looks like
Yeah.
Lars Von Trier in the second.
Oh my god, that's exactly what it is. It's like
That's
like
so funny.
human centipede idea is actually a real thing. Like it's gonna be like people. Like it's crazy how people are so sheltered, or they try to shelter themselves, and they're like, "Oh, this isn't real," and you're like, "Well, you have no idea."
Yes. Don't be ignorant. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Ignorance is
sorry,
bliss,
like oh, you might want to look out.
I mean, the only other thing I would say besides human centipede is like he could just make a full-on monster, which would be someone like Albert Fish, who tortured himself a lot, who had a lot of mental issues too, but not in terms of planning things out. Like literally eight children, because that's pretty terrifying. But like, because he can't do the same sort of intelligence level that Jack had, right?
Right.
I don't know, but that means that he's lost it completely.
Anyways, what? Okay, I think we have to finish it off here. 2 parts, so good. We did it. 2 parts. Like it's almost been like 2 hours, baby.
I know. I could keep going for like 4
yeah, I
hours.
know. We
So
could.
much.
Oh, we're gonna be continuing to record so many episodes. This one specifically is on starting from scratch, which is weird where we're talking about serial killers because it's usually just movies. But this movie needed to be in the drive lane of a serial killer because holy shit, Lars Von Trier, I know you're listening.
My man.
Yeah, like we love you, but can you just like talk to us, please? Because we want to know. We want to know for sure.
I'm so glad that you finally watched it. It had to be the right time. I'm just glad that it happened because it's such a good fucking movie.
Oh, I know, baby. It was so good. Honey, baby,
Yeah.
thank you so much for gracing me with this. I'm going to start the stopping of this
Start to stop.
recording. Okay?
Okay.
I'm just going to hold on.